Mychael and Jeff Danna, you two have composed music for a lot of films and TV shows. You also happen to be brothers. When you're working together, is there ever a hint of sibling rivalry?
A hint? Yeah.
I,
There's
I
always
a lot
there's
about
always a hint. There's always a hint, and sometimes it boils up into an uber hint. But I would say, it's something we use in a positive way 98% of the time. Yeah, there is a competition, but we do it to try to outdo each other. So yeah, we both admire each other's work, and if one of us writes a good melody or finishes a cue really beautifully, the other one feels inspired to try to match that and maybe beat it. So yeah, there is definitely a sense of trying to one up the other guy, but it works for us in a positive way, and it makes the end results a lot better than it would have been, I think, if we were working on our own.
hmm Well, let's talk about Tyrant, which you two composed the main theme and the underscore for. What was it that attracted the two of you to do this and to work on it together?
Well, we loved the idea that there was this canvas that we could write for that had the kind of scope that you don't see in television most of the time, certainly not for the last decade or so. So we loved the idea that there was this show with this setting that was exotic and large, and we could be kind of classic with it and use an orchestra and real soloists, really do a nice job painting on it, so to speak. But it also meant that we would need two of us to be able to handle the kind of workload that a television schedule would demand with this kind of, sort of it's like a film method of composition and scoring on a TV schedule. So we love the idea of the job. We knew we needed two of us to do it, and we're in the middle of it right now.
I think there's also the attraction, speaking of brothers, going back to the first question, of course, the central characters in this drama are brothers who have their own interesting relationship, which, it kind of runs the gamut from love and admiration to hatred. So it's a very amped up version of a brother relationship, and I think that's one of the things that Howard Gordon, one of the creators, I think that's one of the things that attracted him to us, that the idea that we would kind of get the intricacies of the relationship.
hmm So, it's interesting because this show is really about the brothers, and it's also about a real clash of cultures. So how do you express that musically?
The score is a real East meets West, Middle East meets West kind of approach. We have a Western orchestra and a Western harmonic structure that we're using, by and large. But we also have these 4 or 5 soloists, really legit players who play these exotic instruments like the qanun and the santur and ney and duduk and kaman. They are the Middle Eastern part of the recipe. And in the way that the show has brought Barry and his family from the West to the Middle East, we do the same thing on the musical front.
hmm So how do you two divide the work up?
It varies kind of minute by minute and day by day. Sometimes one of us will say, "Oh, I got an idea for this theme," and he'll start it out. He might write the whole thing, and then the other brother will critique it, very respectfully, of course. Or it may be, Jeff gets 4 bars, and then I go, "Oh, I know where this should go." I do the next 4 bars. So it's kind of, just like a painting, and both of us have paintbrushes, and we're just kind of filling in where it needs to be filled in. So we both on the same platform. Sometimes we're in the same room. Most of the time we're not. And we just send files back and forth and, hey, check this out. What do you think? Oh yeah, let me finish that. I know where that should go, or I don't really like that beginning. Here's another idea, or something like that. So it's pretty fluid, and it's something we don't really think about. We don't spend much time thinking about the process. It just kind of happens. That's what happens when you have a deadline. You don't have a lot of luxury of time of thinking about how you're going to do it. You just do it.
Jeff, did you want to say anything about that?
No, I mean, I think he covered it. I mean, the only thing, I mean, I noticed that sometimes if one of us happens to spend a lot of time on a particular theme, even if they didn't write it, but if one of us seems to have taken a lot of the martyr theme cues or a lot of the family theme cues, often because of the constraints of TV, we'll think, well, you're the guy who does that a lot. You're very familiar with it. Go ahead and take that one. But really, we can just go back and forth and switch it around as we need to do it. Just it's, like Mike says, it's very fluid.
Yeah, and honestly, sometimes I truly, honestly forget who wrote what.
Yeah, you can't remember who wrote what.
And it's weird, actually, because sometimes I think, oh yeah, this is my theme, and I think, wait a minute, is it my theme? Did I write this? I can't even remember. Did I write all of it or part of it? So it all just gets all jumbled up. But I think, our fingerprints are all over everything, both our sets of fingerprints, and that's kind of the key to the end result.
And at what point do you know that you're done? I guess, is it before the deadline, or is it,
when we run out of time, we're done.
When they tear it out of our hands, that's when it's done.
That's just the way when the music editor comes over and says, you have to let go now.
I mean, it's never done in your head. I mean, I hear films and things I did years ago, and I'm still working on them really in my head. And
that saying, art is never completed; it's merely abandoned. And never has that been more true than on writing orchestra music on television.
Well, you two are in the middle of the second season. Has it gotten easier from the first season, or is it the same kind of struggle?
Well, we definitely have a working method, and we have a crew and a whole kind of, we've got a schedule that we all share online, and so it's kind of a crazy schedule. What we're trying to do for a TV show is fairly insane. We're recording 4 ethnic musicians every week who are scattered all over the globe. We record an orchestra, which is in Eastern Europe, and then and then we do other stuff as well, electronic stuff here. So, and often we only have 6-7 day turnarounds, 8-day turnarounds. And those cues have to get approved. So, it's kind of, yeah, it's insane. So it's a machine. It's a well-oiled machine. I mean, we know, like, as of tonight, we are sending cues out to the showrunners to be approved on 206. Those will go to the orchestrator. Those will get tweaked and orchestrated tomorrow, and then they get recorded. They send over to the orchestra, and they get recorded on Sunday. And then, meanwhile, 207 is starting.
207 spotting on Friday.
On Friday. So it's it's a dance that is complicated, but yeah, once you're on the dance floor dancing, you just keep going. It's fine.
Where do you see the show heading and your work developing on it?
I don't know. I mean, Howard once told us, it was interesting. We said, "Oh, so where's this season going?" He goes, "I don't know." He said, I don't really, I block it out roughly. He said, but I always leave the ending open so I can see what happens. I thought that was really kind of an amazing admission that you start out and you sort of have an idea where the thing might end, but you just let the process in the writer's room do its thing organically. So if he doesn't know, we don't know. So that's the story. And musically, we're happy with the approach of it. you know, you're always developing things and expanding on things, but we have sort of the foundation of the building here, and I would not anticipate that either of us would look for a departure in a real sense. You know, it is what it is. It works really well, and you know, we just try and perfect it as much as we can every week.
Well, thank you both so much for taking the time to talk with me, and congratulations on the show, and I'll let you get back to your busy schedules.
Thanks, Zachary.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. Have a great day.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.